All right, it's a fresh edition of Weather for Weather Geeks on this Friday evening. We're heading into the Easter holiday weekend on kind of a wintry note today, and we'll get to today's weather and the forecast for the weekend coming up. Did want to start with a little severe weather news, though, this evening. Of course, we had severe weather a couple of nights ago, and the National Weather Service Pittsburgh office today announced that they did do a storm survey and did indeed find tornado damage. Two separate circulations here is what they found. The first one produced EF1 winds and damage in parts of eastern Columbiana County. This touched down around East Fairfield, stayed on the ground for a handful of miles, and lifted just to the west of 170 around the Union Ridge area. EF1 winds about 90 miles per hour. There was some structural damage to some buildings and some tree damage as well. The second circulation, independent of that first one, touched down around Union Ridge and then stayed on the ground for a handful of miles, crossed the state line, crossed 170 first, then crossed the state line and lifted then in western Beaver County, Pennsylvania. The EF0 had winds of around 75 miles per hour, and the damage with that one was primarily just trees. That's a pretty rural area, of course. Didn't see a lot of structural damage with that one. No, I know I posted on social media a couple of days ago that hey, wind is wind. And, I mentioned that at that point it looked like we did not have any actual tornadoes. And a lot of 75 mile per hour winds can cause a lot of problems. You don't need a tornado to have a lot of wind damage problems. Whenever we have big wind events and damage, people tend to assume it was a tornado. The vast majority of the time, it's not a tornado. Tornadoes in our area are thankfully pretty rare. So you don't have to have a tornado to cause damage, and lower end tornadoes, EF0s, even low end EF1s, can cause very similar damage to straight line thunderstorm winds with similar speeds. But as it turns out, we did indeed have a pair of tornadoes at about 12:35 to 12:40 in the morning, Wednesday morning. So that was revealed by the Weather Service late this afternoon. So we did want to pass along that news. All right, we started this morning with a little more snow than I think we bargained for. There was even enough to cover the grass and even a couple of inches in some spots because these snow showers picked up a little bit of juice off of Lake Erie and caused some localized accumulations this morning. But this time lapse from our Youngstown camera, of course, reveals that snow doesn't stand much of a chance at this time of the year as far as staying around for very long. It melted pretty quickly, and there was very little evidence except for maybe north-facing areas. There's very little evidence by this afternoon that, hey, we had accumulating snow first thing this morning. Interestingly, this was at the Youngstown Warren Airport. It was the first measurable snow at the airport since February 29th. We only had a trace of snow at the airport in the month of March. And so where we get our official weather observations from, this was our first measurable snow since the very last day of February. So a little interesting climatological nugget there. Snow in April is nothing new. We typically pick up about 4% of our annual snowfall during the month of April. This is mostly during the first half of April. Snow gets certainly more and more uncommon as you get into the second half of April. But snow around here at this time of the year doesn't make a whole lot of people happy, but it really is nothing all that terribly unusual. I mentioned snow doesn't stand much of a chance on the ground at this time of the year. That's because the sun is strong. On April 10th, the sun angle, the strength of the sun is equivalent to August 31st. And so while we did have clouds most of the day today, that incoming solar radiation still makes a difference. Some of that incoming solar radiation still gets through the clouds and can still melt the snow very quickly, even when temperatures are marginal. It was barely above freezing for a good chunk of the day today, but the snow did melt in a hurry. Again, with some exceptions, especially those north-facing areas. All right, the radar quieter this evening. Just some false returns mostly on the radar, maybe a sprinkle in a couple of spots. That's about it. Things are winding down, and we're expecting quieter weather as we go through the night tonight. All right, of weather interest across the country as we go into the Easter holiday weekend. Not necessarily for us, but for a large portion of the country, it's this bowling ball out here across the southwest. This is a strong upper-level low-pressure system. Whenever a strong upper-level low ejects out of the southwest and moves into the middle of the country in spring, that's a severe weather recipe, and this is going to be a big-ticket severe weather event that's going to unfold for a lot of people over the weekend. Saturday's event will be mostly based in Texas, parts of Oklahoma and Kansas maybe as well. This will be tomorrow into tomorrow night. Then everything, of course, will shift east Sunday into Sunday night, and a Easter Sunday severe weather event is seeming pretty likely across parts of Dixie Alley. It's not often you see a day 3 moderate risk issued by the Storm Prediction Center. They don't go moderate risk lightly, and especially on day 3. The Storm Prediction Center issues these severe weather outlooks for days 1, day 2, day 3, and day 3 they're usually pretty conservative with how high they go on this risk. So for them to go with a moderate risk, 4 on a 1 to 5 scale, that means this is just about a slam dunk to be a pretty serious outbreak in parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, even parts of Georgia, eventually into the Carolinas by late Sunday and Sunday night. Now for us, our weather is going to improve this weekend. We'll see a good deal of sunshine Saturday, maybe a shower or two with our emerging warm front then late Saturday night, first thing Sunday morning. But I'll tell you, the bulk of Easter Sunday, I think, is going to be a dry day. Showers become likely at night, and then the big story for us is going to be the wind. I touched on this last evening and have been hitting on it on social media and on 21 News as well. This is a big ticket wind day coming our way on Monday with a storm bombing out over the northern Great Lakes. I plotted up the isobars on today's model. Look how packed together they are. That's a windy looking weather map for Monday. So this is a recipe for a high-end wind event for us. No doubt we'll be under at least a wind advisory, if not a high wind warning, before the weekend is through. I think the wind gusts locally are going to be in the 50s. And I can't even rule out somewhere across the region a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, especially in the afternoon on Monday. So with that kind of wind, you can bet there's going to be some scattered power outages. Impossible to say whether your neighborhood's going to be affected, but there's going to be a scattering of power outages, no doubt, across the area Monday with those wind gusts up to 55. Thunderstorms, not all that likely. Maybe we get some thunder Sunday night. Not all that likely during the day Monday as temperatures fall and the cooler air starts to rush into the region. All right, Easter Sunday coming up, of course, and a quick look at Easter Sunday weather history across the region. The warmest was back in 1976, the coldest high, 1940. Of course, Easter occurs on different days, so you can get a pretty big variety of weather on the Easter holiday. Sometimes Easter's in late March, sometimes it's by the 3rd week of April. It was pretty late last year. I think it was on the 21st of April last year. We had a chilly Easter last year with only 51. Pretty cool 2018 as well, and that was after a couple of warm Easter Sundays in 2016 and 2017. I think Easter Sunday this year will be our warmest since 2017 with forecast highs getting into the mid-60s. And again, a look at the longer range, not much change here. Still looks pretty chilly for the majority of next week. I think the cold pattern, the chilly pattern will start to relax some by next weekend. I don't think it's going to flip into an abnormally warm pattern, anything like that. But the biggest differences from average as far as temperatures go are likely to be from Tuesday through Friday of next week. All right, long video tonight, lots to talk about. Thanks for hanging with me. Thanks for watching Weather for Weather Geeks. Hope you and your family are staying healthy and safe, and hope you can make the most of this Easter holiday weekend.